10 years ago, a monster taming game by the name of Evocreo was released around the world, and over those years it amassed over 1 million downloads on the Google Play Store, and probably a million more on the Apple App Store as well. It was a fun game with nice graphics and cool monster designs that offered a nice escape during the year-long Pokemon drought of 2015. But after years of waiting, the sequel has finally arrived, delivering a much bigger and much more polished experience. So in this video, I'm here to showcase its features and content, and review each of those aspects. And if you are wondering, no, this video is not sponsored. All opinions are 100% my own. But let's take a dive into the world of Evocreo. You'll begin the game with the option to customize your own character, then are thrown into your hometown, ready to begin your journey as a cadet for the region's defense force. You'll pick between one of 4 starters, and are immediately handed the tools you'll need to begin building your team. Before we continue the story any further, let's talk about what's obviously the most important part about the game, and that's the Creo and your battles with them. There are over 300 Creo to capture across 9 different types. About half of them are from the first game, and the other half are completely new. I found most of them to be pretty charming, and there were only a small few I disliked the designs of. But with so many options, I think it'll be pretty easy to ignore the ones you don't like. In battle, both Creo and Tamers have animated sprites, and colorful yet quick attack animations. Attacks consume energy as a resource, so the stronger of a move you use, the more energy that'll be consumed. Healing and restoration items can also be used with little restriction, and you'll even have access to a type chart to view at any time. But as for the Creo themselves, you'll be able to carry 5 of them at a time in your party. They learn a variety of different useful moves, and evolve either once or twice. Both of these can be easily tracked right from the summary screen. Creo also have traits, which are little bonuses or stat boosts that are unlocked from level up. The Creo battles are definitely the best part about the game. They're very fun and they look amazing, but they also aren't too difficult either, as I never found myself losing a battle, and only came close to it twice. Like I mentioned at the beginning, the story takes place in a massive world with 10 different explorable towns and a plethora of other routes, caves, and forests in between them. The overworld is pretty detailed, filled to the brim with people walking about and your own Creo following behind you. There are even plenty of different chests hidden around the map, making exploration really rewarding. However, one thing I didn't enjoy so much about the game was how slow you move through the world. There are ways to upgrade the movement speed, but even with all that, it was still pretty slow. I understand wanting the player to take in the environment and maybe not move through the game too quickly, but it made backtracking feel like a huge chore, especially when most of the chests were in super deep parts of the maps. But other than that, I wasn't doing too much backtracking, as healing and repellent items were cheap enough to where I never found myself running out of them before reaching the next town. Speaking of towns, most of the ones you'll visit will be home to an arena. You might immediately assume arenas are just like the gyms from Pokemon, but they have a lot separating them from each other. Each one will have a couple of tamers to battle before reaching the final stage. In the final stage, you'll face off against multiple powerful tamers with the Creo themed around the town's environment. Each time you win, you'll be able to heal your team using your own items, but you won't be able to leave without losing progress. Finally, the story, it was kinda just there to tell you what to do next. It's not bad, and there definitely are a few interesting moments, but I also didn't think it was anything super special. There are at least plenty of side quests that do help the world feel more alive and provide you with useful rewards, but writing is one of the most subjective things in gaming, so where I found it to be lackluster, you might find it to be enjoyable. Averaging out my final scores for each aspect of the game, I'll have to give it a 7.5 out of 10. My biggest and only real problem with the game would be the overworld move speed, as my experience was almost entirely bug-free, with just a few minor issues that barely affected my playthrough. But considering the game isn't free, I did want to answer the question of, is it worth buying? And I would have to say absolutely. At least to me, it's a very low barrier of entry for a very fun game. However, if that's not the case for you, then don't worry, because I'll be giving away 5 copies of the game for free. So make sure you subscribe and check out the description below to see how you can win a copy of Evocreo 2. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know if you'd like me to review more monster taming games. Have a nice rest of your day, and goodbye!